The top uncommitted quarterback in 2026 is Ryder Lyons. He has a crystal ball to the Oregon Ducks, but certainly, there are some other potential suitors as well. Brian Smith from the Portal Podcast, longtime recruiting analyst here to discuss. Let's start with the latest on Lyons, Brian. This is probably, I think, in the summer, the biggest quarterback name that is still yet to come off the board. Seems like a lot of early commitments for big-time guys. I mean, Jared Curtis committing the first week of May. Feels like that's typically been a move that's happened in the June, July months. But with Ryder Lyons, do you think he winds up in Eugene, or do you think USC can kind of swing the momentum back in their favor?
I think Ole Miss, Michigan, and BYU should all be considered as well. This is, in my opinion, not a very easy one to figure out. Because he's a Mormon kid, because he's going to take a one-year mission, there are a lot of other things to look at with him. And everybody wants him, and they should. He's my number 2 quarterback for a reason. He's awesome. I don't think anybody should be considered an automatic lean, although Oregon – I was watching some clips yesterday. I saw his brother playing for USC. His brother's tight end there. Obviously, it's the in-state school, but he's a Northern California kid. Oregon, for the longest time, a lot of people thought that's where he was going. And then Jared Curtis, they seem to go after him more. Does that impact him? I don't know. But Ryder Lyons, I've got him ranked higher than Jared, but that's just me. So everybody's got their own opinion on it, but I don't know where he's going, and I don't think anybody should be considered a lean at this point.
Does he have a timeline or an approximate one on when he's expected to make a decision? Because that crystal ball from Wiltfong for him to go to Oregon came almost immediately after Jared Curtis picked Georgia. And, I mean, that just screams to me that, Wiltfong might have some intel with regards to, where Oregon's heads were at, which was, hey, we want Jared Curtis, but if not, it's full court press going after Ryder Lyons because they know they don't want to, let him wander elsewhere too much.
I haven't heard the date. He might have one, but it'll be this summer. He's a very sensible kid. He's not going to wait to the last minute. He knows how important it is for a quarterback to be in a class. He'll make it this summer.
Yeah, and he's not the only talented quarterback. Certainly, he does not have a commitment date per 24/7. But it's easy to see why he's one of the most highly sought after prospects. But he's certainly not the only one. Brian, so you put together a wonderful list of the top quarterbacks in the class of 2026, and number 1 being Keon Henderson going to Houston. Let's just start with the craziness of that particular statement that, a 5-star quarterback and the number 1 guy on your board is going to the Houston Cougars. What do you like so much about Henderson that, you've got him number 1?
When we saw him last summer, all the different recruiting analysts at Future 50 in Bradenton, we all thought, because he played multiple spots, he could be the number 1 corner, the number 1 free safety, or the number 1 receiver. None of us were saying he's going to be the number 1 quarterback. But then in January, when he went to South Florida to play in Battle Miami, he was just on fire. And he's always had a strong arm and all that, but he's just taken a major step forward. And we're talking about probably the best pure athlete in the class, regardless of position. It's insane what his capabilities are. And I don't like using a whole lot of comparisons to NFL guys, but there's a certain one in Baltimore that he is just
That was who popped into my head.
Yeah, they're the same player. Like, he's further ahead than he was at this point. Just saying.
But same sort of athleticism as Lamar Jackson.
100%. Like, it's that ridiculous. And Keyshawn knows that. But he's really level-headed. Like, he's not an arrogant kid. He'll talk to anybody. He's very chill. And those are the kinds of players, especially at quarterback, that if you don't have that kind of personality, it usually doesn't go well long-term. He does. So he could be a baseball player, track athlete. It wouldn't make it any difference what sport it is. He could be dominant. He just loves football, and he wants to play quarterback. So Houston was the first one to go all in on him playing quarterback. Then after that Battle Miami tournament, Georgia wants him, and Florida wants him, and Florida State, LSU. Everybody saw the film. They're like, okay, never mind. You can play quarterback. So there's still teams coming after him. But right now it looks like he's going to Houston, and I think it's cool. It'd be great for Houston and college football. I mean, I know you like talking about the Big 12 is underrated somewhat. It's great conversation, and he's cool with it. He doesn't mind resurrecting the program. So good for Keyshawn.
Yeah, and the interesting thing that you touch on there is the uniqueness of a 5-star quarterback going to any Big 12 school, quite frankly. You look at the other names on here. Faizon Brandon going to Tennessee. Jared Curtis going to Georgia. Ryder Lyons, we'll see if he winds up at BYU. That'd be one of the biggest gets in the history of BYU football. But I want to also discuss Faizon Brandon here because he's currently committed to Tennessee, has been for quite a while. I think they feel really good about him sticking with the Vols in the long run, Brian, because of the lack of effort they put into recruiting Jared Curtis, who would be my number one quarterback in the class of 2026. But Tennessee has had Brandon for so long, and they weren't even tied, sniffing around really with Jared Curtis, who's from Nashville. But they're all in on Brandon. Why do you think Josh Heupel wants him to be the next quarterback at Tennessee?
He would be the second best athlete, arguably, in the class of 2026. Like, he's another kid. You put him at receiver, I'd take him in a heartbeat. And I bet you Kirby Smart would take him at wide receiver or free safety. And another kid that's really gracious, open-ended, great interview, all those kinds of traits make him a fit at the University of Tennessee, too. And above all else, he is the guy that's going to embody the dual threat quarterback. He's about 198 pounds, 200 pounds. 6'3.5" when he was at Elite 11 this year, and he's got a cannon. So he hasn't had to use all his skills yet. I haven't seen it as much. Like when I was speaking with him, he had the conversation with me about like his area. Most of the kids, if you're good, you find your way to that high school where he's at, Grimsley, and they just kick the bejesus out of just about everybody. So he hasn't necessarily went against as much comp, but like when he's on the field, he's dominant. His upside might be even higher than Keyshawn's. He's a little bigger. Just depends on your perspective, but it's 6 one way, half dozen the other.
Yeah, and I also wanted to shout out the Big 12 a little bit because Jake Fett, 4-star quarterback for Arizona State, is number 12 here on your list. And, you know, there's still 4 guys on here that are uncommitted for those listening on audio that can't see. You've got Ryder Lyons, Bo Bentley is your number 5, Landon Duckworth, your number 9 quarterback, and Luke Fahey. Luke Fahey, sorry, is number 11 there for your rankings, and those guys are all uncommitted. But, you know, for Arizona State and Houston to be in there for these guys, like, yeah, the Big Ten and SEC separate themselves from the Big 12, most notably in the trenches, but they get the big-time quarterbacks too. Bryce Young didn't go to the Big 12. He went to the SEC, and that worked out pretty well overall. So what do you make about what ASU has got cooking there?
I think last year's playoff run has changed the direction of their recruiting. I mean, let's be honest. They hit the inside straight on the portal last year. Scatterboo aside, they did really well with defensive players, offensive line. They just didn't miss much. But high school players still noticed that they were in the playoff. And now they're getting kids that they wouldn't have gotten a year ago. They wouldn't even got on campus. Spencer, it was slim pickings there for a while at ASU. They were awful. I mean, there's no nice way around it.
Did you know they had a recruiting class within the last 5 years that finished 103rd in the country? It stemmed from the Herm Edwards era and the sanctions and and all that stuff. 103rd in Tempe, Arizona. Brian, that sickens my stomach to hear.
It should, but they're back on track, and they've got a head coach who's young, who's a grad, who wants to be there. They should be the team that's the most consistent over the next decade because of what I just said in the Big 12. Will they? I don't know, because college football is so wild. And maybe the Cowboys call the head coach and make him an offer he can't refuse. You never know. But
I think he likes it there a lot.
I do too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you just never know in college football. I don't like anything more than about a 2-year projection.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really hard.
I'd say long-term, BYU's making big investments. Texas Tech, huge investments. Yep. ASU has got staying power. I mean, Kansas State feels really solid. They don't feel championship yet. I know they won it a couple of years ago of sorts, but like they feel good. You know, they feel like They feel like Oklahoma State in the Big 12. You know, that's how Kansas State feels to me. Is like always good, never like taking the step up to great, elite, top tier, but always good. Like as long as Chris Kleiman is there,
They'll be
for,
good.
for Kansas State. I think they will be good. We're always good with Brian Smith, the Portal Podcast, recruiting analyst, covering all things across the country. Check out the show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.